justice, so don't try to take me rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice, so don't try to take me rights. We must let them know decisions they can make just so, and have us like Papi Show. So all what they do and say, we must make them pay, and pay in a real big way. They must understand the power is in we hand. They should be ashamed and don't ever try that again. I say we go fight for justice. We worry rights. Nobody can take away freedom. We worry rights. Yes, we walking. Worry rights. And we talking. Worry rights. So we marching. Worry rights. Nobody can take we rights. We demonstrating. Worry rights. We protesting. Worry rights. We picketing. Worry rights. Nobody can take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. Like some on a mission to make their own constitution. That's always their intention. So they want to rule and have the masses like fool. My friends, that wouldn't be cool. The lad their men give the people more strength. Don't care how they feel, the same light will be repealed. I say we go fight for justice. We worry rights. Nobody can take away freedom. We worry rights. Yes, we walking. Worry rights. And we talking. Worry rights. So we marching. Worry rights. Nobody can take we rights. We demonstrating. Worry rights. We protesting. Worry rights. We picketing. Worry rights. Nobody can take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and freedom. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and freedom. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and freedom. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and freedom. So don't try to take we rights.
No matter where you are in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, your radio is Nice Radio. 101.3, 96.7, 90.3 FM.
Keeping It Real is an interactive radio program heard only on Nice Radio. Join your host, Joel Abraham, every Friday as we discuss important issues affecting our society from 8 to 10:30 p.m. For persons living outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can still listen to us on Nice Radio's website, www.niceradio.info, or you can email us at bdsnice@gmail.com, or simply give us a call at 784-456-5967. Remember, it's Keeping It Real, the interactive talk show program heard each and every Friday, only on Nice Radio.
Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brayton Horn. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brayton Horn will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brayton Horn at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society need a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society need a spectacle.
The first responsibility that devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. I repeat, and in private employment. Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens, the protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Democracy means freedom of expression and assembly and organization. All that is democracy. All that is our democracy, to which I call upon all citizens to dedicate themselves on this our Independence Day. This is what I meant when I gave the nation as its slogan for all time: discipline, production, tolerance. Our national flag belongs to all of us. Our national coat of arms with our national birds inscribed therein is the sacred trust of all our citizens. So it is today. Please, I urge you, let it always be so. Let us always be able to say with the psalmist, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity."
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and I want to do a quick update about a document that got passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It's two parts, one on science and technology and one about the youth and future generations. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround, or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared, have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the time to get involved and get prepared, because this is what's coming. Our Congress is sitting on its hands. There was a press conference on the 17th about this, and no further action has been taken. So it's up to us to mobilize and to go forward, particularly with your local sheriffs, to get your constitutional sheriffs to say, this isn't going to be allowed in my county. Thank you very much. Take action. We've been talking about the onset of one world order, one world government, one world religion, one world money for a long time. Well, it's no longer coming. It's here.
You think for a parliamentarian, I have to just follow Kitchener injunction that the road make to walk on Carnival Day? The road for a parliamentarian made to walk every time Parliament is meeting. He has a protection under the law. You can't impede him, you can't stop him. You can't interfere with him when he's going there or coming from it. Because Parliament is the foundation stone of democracy.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and I want to do a quick update about a document that got passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It's two parts, one on science and technology and one about the youth and future generations. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround, or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared, have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the time to get involved and get prepared, because this is what's coming. Our Congress is sitting on its hands. There was a press conference on the 17th about this, and no further action has been taken. So it's up to us to mobilize and to go forward, particularly with your local sheriffs, to get your constitutional sheriffs to say, this isn't going to be allowed in my county. Thank you very much. Take action. We've been talking about the onset of one world order, one world government, one world religion, one world money for a long time. Well, it's no longer coming, it's here.
Pleasant good night to all in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and those who are listening abroad. Keeping it real right here on a nice radio. I played 3 clips for you tonight. The first one from the founding father of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Eric Williams. He spoke on the issue of democracy and what democracy actually means. Then we have the documentation from the the United Nations, and then we had the one from Dr. Gonzalez. I will start with the second one first. We all could recall what happened during the period 2001 with the pandemic, or what they call a pandemic, and what transpired there. We could recall also where a number of doctors or professionals were banned from giving an alternative opinion on the issue of COVID-19 and the vaccination. We know for a fact that persons were banned from radio station, television station, and other things. We know for a fact also that when persons were given their alternative position or opinion or facts, they were branded as giving disinformation or misinformation. Some persons also suggested that they were creating alarm, and persons suggested also that they should be charged because of what they were doing to the respective societies. Some persons were, as they now say, unalived or killed in other countries because they were trying to get the facts or the alternative viewpoint that later on in this pandemic, or what they call pandemic, it used to be that the side that were giving the facts all the time and not the alternative position. See, the United Nations and the World Health Organization, after what would have transpired, tried to get some document, a treaty passed just in case there's a pandemic in the future, or as they say, another pandemic. So that is what they tried to do. They were unsuccessful. So the United Nations had the meeting, and on the 23rd of September, they adopted what we call the groundbreaking pact for the future to transfer global governance. So that is what you heard from the doctor. So they passed that document, and we could only assume that our government voted also in favor, or by their silence conceded, because that is what silent procedure, that is what it is called according to the lady. So 193 countries in the United Nations voted for all of those things that you heard the doctor indicated in her presentation. and what are the consequences to persons who are in breach of what this pact indicates. You heard that you will be locked out of your bank account. You wouldn't be able to go on airplanes and other measures that they choose to implement. And I tell you this, 193 countries, according to the document, agreed. And we know that you'll have to, in order for it to have any impact or effect in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have to pass into domestic laws. In situations like these, and our government must have a copy of the agenda before they go to the meeting. Should there be a consultation with the people, the respective candidate or representative for the constituency, to get the viewpoint on matters of this nature? Or, as we always indicate, that is what we have is representative democracy, and we don't know who the hell those people represent. But we assume that they represent us. I am convinced that if a poll were to had, the majority of Vincentia will not be in support of our government and maybe the rest of the region supporting this measure. So I'm going to read a portion from the press release that was sent out. Press release: United Nations adopt groundbreaking pact for the future of transformation global governance. New York, September 23rd, 2024. World leaders yesterday, that is September 22nd, adopted a pact for the future that include global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. The pact is an inclusive year-long process to adapt international cooperation to the realities of today and the challenges of tomorrow. The most wide-ranging international agreement in many years, covering entirely new areas as well as issues on which agreement has not been possible in decades. The pact aims, above all, to ensure that international institutions can deliver in the face of a world that has changed dramatically since they were created. As the Secretary General has said, we cannot create a future fit for our grandchildren with a system built by our grandparents. Overall, the agreement of the pact is a strong statement of countries committing to the United Nations, the international system, and international law. Leaders set out a clear vision of an international system that can deliver on its promises, is more representative of today's world, and draws on the energy and expertise of government, civil society, and other key partners. The Pact for the Future, the Global Digital Compact, and the Declaration on Future Generation open the door to the new opportunities and untapped possibilities, said the Secretary General during his remark at the opening of the Summit of the Future. The President of the General Assembly noted that the pact will lay the foundation for a sustainable, just, and peaceful global order for all peoples and nations. The pact covers a broad range of issues, including peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, digital cooperation, human rights, gender, youth and the future generation, and the transformation of global governance. Key deliveries in the pact include: in the era of peace and security, the most progressive and concrete commitment to Security Council reform since the 1960s, will plan to improve the effectiveness and representativeness of the Council, including by addressing the historical underrepresentation of Africa as a priority. And it went on and on and on and on. And on and on. So you can get a copy of it if you so desire. Everything is on the net, online. But that is what our government did when they went to the United Nations. And all of us, and this generation and generation to come, will be affected by this, because we are now what we consider a global village. And because they were not effective in their vaccination mandate, because they had a lot of pushback from a lot of countries. So I could only assume, because I wasn't viewing or heard anything to the contrary, that no country objected to this measure that was adopted by the United Nations. I want to know if their position, because you talk about security and among other things, if their position on Israel, what are their position on Israel and the Palestine and all of the innocent babies that are killed there for months. What are the United Nations position on it? What are our government position on that issue? We had election in Venezuela recently, and most of the world cry against what was happening there and concluded that the election was not free and fair, and the opposition won by a landslide. what were our position on that issue. In what our position on that issue. We talk about democracy, and take me to the last clip I played, where Dr. Gonzalez indicates that the road for parliamentarian basically is once Parliament is in session that there should be no interruption for parliamentarian to go through the House of Parliament. I wonder if Dr. Gonzalez sometime knock his head, or whether or not he, as he referred to the spiritual Baptist one time, eat too much, and when he wake up, something else happened. Because most of us could remember what happened in 98, 99, 2000 in the courthouse yard. We also could recall what happened in 2011 with parliamentarians. I think Daniel Cummins is still suffering from the unlawful act by police officers on parliamentarians. I was in town when, on numerous occasions, the gate to the parliament were closed, when the same parliamentarian on the other side had problem coming out or going in. So Dr. Gonzalez, you have to be consistent in your pronouncement and in your utterances, because it is unfair for you to make those statements at your own convenience, not taking into consideration all the things that your ULP party would have get involved in before assuming office, and the blatant violation of our laws in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And as Eric Williams, Dr. Eric Williams late rightfully said, is not only our vote, but equality before the law. Can we truly say that all of us are equal before the law? Can we truly say that? Can we truly say that our elections are free and fair and free from fear? Can we truly say that? And just on the election, I'm not going to open the line because I'm not taking a marathon again tonight, Dave. One last issue that somebody brought to my attention, and I experienced it for myself also. And I'm going to finish with this part. So, your ID card or your ID is about to expire. You go to the registering officer, let us say a week or 2 weeks before the expiry date of your identification card. Why should the registering officer keep that card and asks you to collect piece of paper for a transaction, legal transaction, and your card is not expired as yet. So if anybody listening from the electoral office, that practice doesn't make any logical sense. What I think could or should be done when the person, I don't see the need why you have to keep it in the first place, but you have to know your reason why you want to keep an expire identification card. But if you're going to keep an expire identification card, when the person is issued with the new one, ask him or her to turn in the one that is expired or about to expire. Because the practice doesn't make no sense that you have to hand in your identification card and go to the office and collect piece of paper to walk around with, and your ID card is not expired. Not in the case, and even in the case where your identification card is lost for some reason, you should have a system in place where an individual can be issued with a new identification card, whether you have to charge him a small fee for producing it if it's lost or in the case of damage or whatever the case may be. But the system, it doesn't make any logical sense to me. When our passports are expired, or we go to renew our passport, even before its expiry date, because I was told that you can renew it 6 months before expiry date. So when that is done, they allow you to hold on to your passport until you receive your new one, and then they clip it and give you back. What is so special about the identification card till you can't hold on to your identification card? In the past, you had the option to hold on to your identification card. Because I have old identification card, the license department, you go and you pay for your driver's license prior to the expiration date. You are given your old driver's license back because it will be expired. There's no new information. So I don't see the logic behind the electoral office taking person's identification card and giving them a piece of paper before the expiry date. Yes, you're free to call now. I promise I'm going to open the lines early. Yes, and as you noted, Paul is not here tonight, and I'm riding alone. So if you are listening and you want to call, you are free to so do. 4565967, and the WhatsApp is 40983802, and the Magic Jack 718-735-615. Okay, just before, we supposed to be celebrating our 45th anniversary independence celebration. And I was going through a document from Dr. Gonzalez 20 years ago when we celebrated our 25th anniversary. And that is on the 27th of October 2004. And I want you to take off with me. And on page 13 of the presentation, Agenda Ahead. Our agenda ahead as a nation is huge and ambitious. Among the major issues upon which we have specifically commenced work. Okay, let me take the call. Pleasant good night.
Hello?
Pleasant good night.
Hey, good night, Abraham.
Good night.
Abraham, about 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
I was listening to your program,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard my good friend Frank calling
Mm-hmm.
and talking about this passport thing with Dr. Friday, right? And I am so confused here now because I am hearing all kind of talk. Because Margaret was playing a recording this morning, today,
Mm-hmm.
and it was saying, Gonsalves was saying that a person can leave Nigeria, come and spend a year in St. Vincent and run for office, right? Because of a Commonwealth country, right? You hear me?
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Right. So then sometime in the week gone, I was listening to Gonsalves, and he was trying to kind of talk and say that he's a born Vincentian and he don't have to have passport to go Canada and this kind of talk. So I really want to, because I say I really have to find out from, because if somehow I hear in this talk that Dr. Friday have dual citizenship, a Canadian passport and a Vincentian passport. Now, I don't know if it's true, right? But what I really want to know is there a problem with Dr. Friday if he has a Vincentian passport and a St. Vincent and a Canadian passport, so that in case that he win the election, that there will be something that could turn up that he won't be able to hold a seat?
Like I said, I dealt with it, and it's not Dr. Gonsalves' statement. The Constitution and the Representation of the People Act. Once you are a Commonwealth citizen and you reside in any Commonwealth country for 12 months, you are eligible to vote. And my understanding, by virtue of you being eligible to vote, you can contest in that election.
Because I am hearing this talk all over the place, and it's so have me confused. I really want to know personal that if it will be a problem if Dr. Friday won the election, and if he will have to vacate his seat. Because I can't understand
How long Dr. Friday representing the people of the...
Well, since 2001.
Okay.
Right?
So
why
this
you
is...
bringing up this kind of talk?
Okay.
I really don't understand. Because what I'm saying too, right, Abraham?
Yes.
How can we, against Dr. Friday having a Canadian passport and a Vincentian passport, and Camilo leave America and come here and have the third highest office? To me, he has the third highest office in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because he is the finance minister. He is the man who's spending money, right? And I am saying that I am sure that if Gonsalves passed away or leave office or whatever the case may be, I am sure that Camilo would not be staying in St. Vincent. I am sure he will be going back to America. And let's say that something happened, that he's been charged for something in St. Vincent. I know for sure that the American government wouldn't be sending him back in St. Vincent to face these charges. So I really want to know why people talking about Dr. Friday, who is a born Vincentian, and they're not talking about Camilo Gonsalves. That is my main question. I really want to know that. Why they're not talking about Camilo? Why he didn't stay in America and run for office up there, like governor or to run in the Senate? Why he didn't stop there and do that? What happened? He invited enough up there? I really don't understand it, to be honest. I really don't understand. And I will at least, I always say, the people of East St. George, some of the people of East St. George, I really believe they are the most foolish people in St. Vincent, God knows. Because I can't understand how they will allow Gonsalve to put Camelo to run in the area and vote for Camelo, you know. A foreigner. Are you called Camelo is a foreigner? He's not even from the comment, not because Ralph Gonsalve is my father. Why he then go in Jamaica and run run as a parliamentarian in Jamaica? Why is St. Vincent? Why he run in America? I really can't understand that, to be honest. And I really want to know exactly what's really going on, right? And the next thing, I hear they talking about now all these houses that getting fixed and so forth, right? I am telling you, Abraham, I live in an area here in Otley Hall, and it has about 4 houses blown down. When I tell you down, flat. And up to now, I haven't seen nobody get no material over here to repair the house or to put back up the house. No material at all. And I hear this, the woman who trying to run for over here, talking about how much house is done and all kind of thing. Nobody, no material at all. Oh, nobody can get no material over here. And all the houses still flat. People living all about the place. So why they not giving people material to go and build back? And they have so much material out Annisville.
I was told by somebody who should know that what the government is doing now, they are sending out contractors. And the contractors are the one that will be rebuilding or repairing the damages. And you have to sign a contract. And all the materials that remain will be passed back to government.
All the material
that remain.
I don't. When they say remain, what you mean? Because 12 sheet apply or whatever the case may be, and 1 sheet leave back, you have to go and give.
That is what I was told, and you had to sign document to that effect.
But there are certain people who will get help to build back, so why they don't give the people the material and let people help themselves? Because to be honest, I really sorry for certain people, especially I have some friends in Canawan. Up to this afternoon, we were talking. Up to now, these people ain't get no material, you know. No material. And I went down there in the early part, was to do a little repairs for them to put back on the roof and so. And up to now, no material. Up to today, this evening, they talk to me. They ain't get no material to build back or to put on the roof.
Then maybe the contractor hasn't visited us yet. If the program that they're carrying out on the mainland is the same in the Grenadines.
Abraham, to be honest, I believe I've gone some waiting until next year to start to give out all these things for people to take it to vote for him. That is my belief. Because in a disaster like what happened with the earlier, I think almost everybody should have been getting material to build back. Who can build? You don't have to wait on contractors. You don't have to wait on contractors if you can do their own thing. You have people who have children who can do their own thing. So why they don't give the people the material? What set of material out Annisville? What material laid on the ground out there? And they wouldn't give the people the material to build back. All right,
okay.
Abraham.
All right, cool. You too. All right. Yes, keeping it real right here on a nice way. I only could give the information that I have. And I can't give no more, no less. Pleasant good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I am surprised that I got to go over back this stuff again. My friend, if you heard me, I don't know why you're getting confused about what you heard. Ralph said about referendum and this and that is a damn lie. Okay? So anybody who continues to play that and making some reference to ever, I don't know why they're doing it. It's a damn lie. No Nigerian can't come here or anybody and live for no year and be no candidate for nothing. Let me go back. Let me read section 25. Okay? I give you all the example of Denzel Douglas, who could walk to Dominica, got a diplomatic passport, and had to give it up, had to exit the house. And as a matter of fact, they eased upon him because for the time he was in there, while he had that passport, he would have been required to pay back the money. I also told you all that Camilo was in there as a senator illegally, but you all not listening. Anyhow, I got case. They got it. And when you see they did it in 2014, it's because they became aware of the case that once Camilo applied for a passport himself, he was now, of his own volition, swearing allegiance to America. You know? If you come to St. Vincent, never get a passport from America, then fine. But once he applied for, I got the code document. They got it. And that was in 2015. And I said at the time on their radio station, I don't see the problem. All Camilo had to do was pay back all the salaries he got. But why not listening? That thing that they keep playing with Ralph, I'm surprised at because it's a lie. What Ralph was saying was a damn lie. Okay? Let me read y'all 27. Let me read 26 first. Subject to the provisions of Section 26. You all listening? Subject to the provision of Section 26 of this Constitution, a person shall be qualified to be elected as a representative if he or she is not so qualified unless he is a Commonwealth citizen at the age of 21 or upwards, has resided in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for a period of 12 months immediately before the election, is able to speak English, blah, blah, blah. Forget that. Now let me go to 25. Subject to the provisions of Section 26. So all of that's right there. Subject to the provision of Section 26 of this Constitution, a person shall be qualified to be elected or appointed as a senator if and shall not be so qualified unless he is a Commonwealth citizen of the age of 21 years or equal. But here's 26. Here's the disqualifier. No person shall be qualified to be elected or appointed as a representative or a senator hereinafter in this section referred to as a member if, by virtue of his own act, under any acknowledgement or allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power. When Douglas got that passport, that disqualified him. Listen to me. This thing started in Australia. You imagine you got somebody, an English person, somebody from the United Kingdom in Australia, run and a not. Is a not to bring up the first case in 1999. I ain't got it in front of me now. I can't remember the case. He brought it up. You know they've been doing this thing in Australia for 200 years until 1999 or something. I don't have the case in front because I just think after this, I'm hearing this stuff. They figure out that the amount of money owed for these people who were in the parliament in Australia illegally was millions. But guess what? The House has the right to charge you how much they want. For each day, if they're in there for sure, it's $100 a day for each day you're in there while you should not have been in there. Okay? Each day. You got a Canadian thrown out because citizens of the United Kingdom. Why is somebody still arguing? Why is somebody still talking? You had at least 6. I hear somebody about VAS. You had at least 6 or 7. You know what? I won't get them. Jamaicans, Canadian citizens who had to vacate. In Guyana, you had the fella mash up the government because he was a Canadian citizen. And he had to quit. After he quit, you had another 6 or 7 of them who were Canadian citizens. And somebody come tell them some stupidness about Republican. Guyana is a Republican. But stupidness got nothing to do with that. The Constitution did not change because, so you're a Republican, blah, 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 blah. And the court, I read you already, court said, in Australia, because you are the United Kingdom is a foreign power, period. Friends, blah, 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 blah. That is why they were thrown out. Oh, and you know the nice part about one of the cases in Australia? The judge ruled that because this woman, can't remember her name now, okay? Because this woman was running, you know, she went, after the election, she went 3-4 days and renounced, but it was too late. The judge ruled therefore that, guess what? There's no need for a new election. The other persons who voted for her while she was unqualified is of no consequence to the court. So the man was, the other fella was automatically entered into the parliament as the representative. You know what? I don't get this, so I can do this again. But let me read. I don't know how anybody. 27, section 27, and I read it. The caption and section, election of representative. Election of representative. Not election of representative. They're talking about the voters. Election of representative. Each constituency shall, in accordance with the provision of section 33 of this constitution, shall return a representative to the House who shall directly be elected in such manner as may subject the provision of this constitution be prescribed by and under any law. Every Commonwealth citizen of the age of 18 years or upward who possesses such qualification relating to or residence or domicile in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as the Parliament may prescribe, shall, unless is disqualified by Parliament from registering as a voter. That's what it says. Registering as a voter. 27 is talking about registration as a voter. Anything that Ralph was talking about, they could come here and blah, blah, was a damn lie. You could vote, but you can't be in the parliament. You know, I wanted to talk about the cases, what is going on now. You had 2 wins in Australia yesterday, but it's okay. Good night.
All right. Okay, somebody indicated that they disagree with me on the issue of the identification card. They is suggesting that they clip the, yes, I indicate that they clip the passport and they give you back, and I not too sure with the driver's license because I normally pay my driver's license before the expiry date, and all they do, they give me the new one and leave with the old one without clipping anything because it's expired, it's not a valid license. So, but I don't see the need you taking it from me and giving me a piece of paper to walk on with. I don't see it, and my position remain the same. You could ask me to return it when you're going to issue me with the new one. And if you want to destroy it or do whatever you want with it, it's up to you. But because that is the only thing that some people have to do legal transaction. And I don't see the need for a piece of paper. Seriously. I know you disagree with me, and that is your right, but I maintain my position. Yes, keeping it real right here on a nice radio if you want to be a part of our discussion tonight. So yes, I was talking about our next week is the start of our Independent Month. And I think I saw somewhere we have an entire month activity. And I was going through the 25th anniversary presentation from Dr. Gonsalves. And he listed a number of things that was on the agenda 20 years ago. So I was asking persons to contact me to inform me whether or not any or all of these were achieved over 20 years. Constitution reform, local government reform, being tough on crime and the causes of crime. And I'm reading from page 14 of the presentation in 24 at the 25th anniversary. Public service reform and reclassification. The education revolution, including universal access to secondary education. Poverty reduction and the creation of quality jobs. Public health advance, including the fight against HIV and AIDS. The many-sided modernization, diversification, and enhanced competitiveness of the economy. Airport development, including the international airport at Argyle and the jet airport at Canavan. The enhancement of the road network, including the rehabilitation of the Windward Highway from Fancy to Kingston and the construction of the cross-country road. The National Stadium, the development of the Annisville Cricket Facility, the modern National Library and Lecture Theatre, the Lawney Resource Center nationwide, the Windward Water Project, electricity plant at Lomans Leeward, low-income houses project, a special development project in the Grenadines, our cultural rebirth, and good governance generally. Those are things that we were told about over almost 20 years ago. I know we attempted and the issue of constitutional reform was rejected by the people. The issue of local government, the government rejected that one themselves because when I think we have a call. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good
Hello?
night.
Good night, Father Abraham.
Good night.
Is your other co-pilot there?
No, he crashed.
Oh boy, like this vendor's thing getting too much for him, boy. That's too hot for him to handle.
Nah.
I usually like to hear reporting from the market, what's going on at the central market. You know?
Matter be on his control.
Yeah, man.
Huh? Matter be on his control, so.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Good night to you, Poya, wherever you are. But this program, really brings some excitement to me and so on. Lord have his mercy. And when you hear some of the things being spoken about, it tells you how backward we are as a people still, and how we can allow one person to have all this say. Well, those of us who are, and some people still living in fear because of this so-called world boss, as he claims to be, and all of that. I mean, imagine in this day and age, you have to put up with some of the utterances that you hear coming from Prime Minister Gonsalves. And I believe, I don't know, well, Vincent will prove me wrong anyhow, especially with elections due by the end of next year. And I hope there's no more, although God, as they would say, God is in charge of whatever happened to us from natural disasters and so on. But I hope that will not happen to create some delay, so to speak, in the next general elections. And I hope well, not I hope. I think Vincentians have had enough time to reflect on what is so-called good governance in this country. Because the same people said that they'll make this country ungovernable, at one time. They'll make this country ungovernable. And I hear you reading something that just now. What you're reading there is what this regime has claimed to have done to make this country a better country?
That's supposed to be a presentation of the 25th anniversary, and that was the ambitious agenda that was supposed to be completed for 2024-25.
But
Sorry,
24,
25.
we're still waiting.
24-25. Because it was it was the 25th anniversary independence message. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, 25th days. If my maths calculation, that's
almost 20 years ago.
20 years ago, because this year we're celebrating what, 45 years?
Correct.
45 years of independence. And sometimes I really wonder if how our people feel about our accomplishment, achievement. Yes, people-wise, speaking about people, some of us have moved on to higher heights and all of that. But I didn't hear. I understand he was to take Shafika Maloney to the United Nations. I wonder. I would like to know if she went, how he introduced her to the United Nations, right? Because yes, she competed. She's the first Olympian we have competing at the highest level, and she did not win a medal, but she did well, so to speak. But I'm just, there are other countries with medals and so on. I don't think St. Lucia carried a gold and silver medalist to know, But then the Prime Minister will do anything. He will scrape the barrel or whatever. He will do anything to make himself look good, because after all, he's a very what's the word I'm looking for? That kind of personality he has and so on. And I get the impression that he's really, really, really under a lot of pressure these days, because I for one don't want no 6 in a row. I can say that I don't want no 6 in a row. And if that ever happens, I don't know. I don't want to predict the future, but I can say big and bold, I will not be welcoming something like that. And then I think some Vincentians who can't make up their mind, I am sure they will not welcome that as well. But a lot of them are afraid to speak. And one of the most embarrassing things, I have to big up, one of the most embarrassing things that just happened recently is how he has been responding or reacting to Dr. Kishore Shallow for becoming a prospective candidate in the next general election on the New Democratic Party, ticket, or on to represent NDP and so on. I mean, I know he's always out to see if he can get the cream of the crop of those Vincentians we can capture, or what's the other word? But you're always looking for. No wonder why he went off and talking about star and star and star. But I like the new word I heard recently been up to today. I think it was being used What's the word again? There's a new word. I think that Shallow even say he's going. He likes that word about star. Prime Minister is talking about star and star. We even had that with beach at one time. When he claimed that beach was a star, and then people said, "But how you going to say beach is a star?" And so what you call yourself? And then he come up. I think he said he's the superstar. But all of this to me is real folly and makes no sense. But he has been able to, well, they call it charisma in some Vincent and Grenades. All of this nonsensical stuff, utterance you hear, that is what our people have cherished for the nearly 25 years he has been in office and so on. And now the message is coming home loud and clear. But I want to bring up Dr. Shallow as president of Cricket West Indies. I I saw an excerpt when they had that conference in Trinidad, that symposium, I should call it, on cricket in Trinidad. And I felt so proud of this guy, because he's still, I don't know if he's 40, Dr. Shallow, but the way he presented, he was the first speaker at that symposium. I felt so proud of him. And although I haven't met him, I don't know him personally. There are a lot of things that come home to me. And I knew his father. His father and I were good friends. His father died just recently too. His father died recently. And I also knew his mother, right? But the important thing is he was able to achieve a doctorate in whatever he did. He achieved a doctorate. And you can't have a doctorate and ain't got no substance or no backbone and nothing to offer. And make another man with another who has a doctorate as well to want to make a damn fool of you. No way. That should not be allowed. But we have a lot of others who, for some reason, our Prime Minister has been able to make look like he was of wood and carry water, something, how the saying goes. Made them to look as though they have not achieved anything. So I am proud that Dr. Shallow stood up to him. And because at one time, I tell you, I was pleasantly surprised when I heard the announcement because I ain't there on the road anymore. So put it that way. I didn't realize that was going to happen. And because of, the way the Prime Minister was speaking of Dr. Shallow so proudly and so on, I thought, he had him in his corner. So I am saying, in spite of all the negative vibes coming from our Prime Minister relating or concerning Dr. Shallow, I am happy that Dr. Shallow showed him that he's a man and he has the caliber, he's capable of, of delivering and showing his manhood, not like the others who done, well, for me, them ain't got no manhood. Those who seem to have lost their balls and whatever they should have as a man. So big up to Dr. Shallow and all those conscious people who can understand what the Prime Minister's intention is all about. He has gotten away for almost 25 years. And I don't, and if we're not mindful of all what he's doing, using some of our young people, and young people, I'm warning you, don't let your name come out in the public as being, on the wrong side and getting your name mixed up in any in any nastiness, dirtiness, because right now the politics that is being preached, it's obnoxious in my opinion. And there are those who can be easily misled, especially if you get a portion of money, you know, I mean, because of who is giving you that money, you can easily fall victim and all of that. So that, from my standpoint, that's a warning to those who can be easily bought and sold, right? Take warning and try to empower yourself, stand up by your conviction, and show that you got muscles, balls, whatever, whatever it is, male and female. Thank you, my friend. I'll listen.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Pleasant good night.
Good evening.
Good day.
Well, I've been touching on the piece of what Dave saying.
Yes.
Dr. Shallow name when they call it up for now, nothing really happening just yet. But I have intention as an older man, want to see representation. The name is there, yes, but I honestly don't want to hear, I see what's going on right now. A lot of fellas jump in, they get a chance, they win, they get on real bad, and they get to keep out. But me really see no real representation from politician over the years. And I also add into it, whenever election come around, like one supposed to happen next year, some of us might not be around, but it will happen. I call the NDP, I call it no development plans. Because they are not idea, they are not this, they are not that, they are not, they're weak. But I still look at it and say, well, you have been trying so hard to win them. If I've been there so long, I'm supposed to campaign. I'm supposed to just call election within a week and then, things still move and everything come back to me. But I can't see a party that been there for so long, I've been in government and, you had the chance at your disposal to do what you had to do. I still want to know where you had to work so hard to be in a weaker position. But I also want to see the people who come in now. Like some years ago, I think Izzy had reached up on the program. I think comments had said in his resolution from Water Authority over some issue. I think the Venezuela project up in Jennings Mountain. I think the funder for the money was saying if Daniel Cummins leaves the Water Authority, all funded for the project come back to France. That's all. There had to be a strong man willing to work. But I see politicians over the years in that position, they have plenty of mouth in government. As I say, I don't want to see nobody now. And I don't want to hear from the NDP go to be on the street, It ain't going to be, to me, it ain't going to be better or worse. It could be different. People had it like if it could be gold. If you want to talk about a goal, it could be different. It must be different. You understand? But I honestly want people who come in now, whether you're young, whether you're old, work for your people. Me want to hear no yes man, not next election. Me tired of that. Me want nothing to personally, but you have to fix what you're supposed to fix. There's some rule they fix since 2001, 2003. So I'm glad to see new faces, but still you have to walk along with it and touch your people. You want to only hear yes 5 minutes or yes 5 minutes or yes Dr. Friday. We don't want to hear much of that. And I hope that they're going to give them the respect that they're supposed to give them. Not only now, but once you get it and everything goes well, give them what you're supposed to give them. But I don't want to hear that if things do change, Ralph kids and them can't live here, okay. You all have Vincent chance, so I hope everything will work out for everybody, So I'm going to leave the rest there for now.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, it's keeping it real right here on Nice Radio. Father Abraham, let Frank know that we can be Canadian and Vincentian. No American can be an American Vincentian, and so are Jamaicans. If a Vincentian take an American passport or citizenship, they are no longer Vincentian, therefore they are operating illegally. A Jamaican with a Canadian passport will tell you that they know that they have given up their Jamaican passport, but they don't. American doesn't allow you to have dual citizenship if you are an American. In addition, if you hold American passport and you fly to St. Vincent during an election to vote, you should be breaking the law because you are an American voting in a Commonwealth country. Oh, sorry. American do allow dual citizenship, but you have to leave as an American and return as an American. Jamaican don't allow dual citizenship. Pleasant good night.
Good night,
Good night.
Father.
Good night. Good night.
I want to know who chose Dr. Kishon Shalom. Is not the constituency member? Who chose one? Are they quite any? Who chose one? The big man or the small man choose one. So the constituency people them have a better choice than one. Okay, I'm gone.
All right. Yes, keeping it right here on Nice Radio. Okay, I think they have somebody saying it's supernova is the word you're looking for that Dr. Shala used. Yes, keeping it real right here on Nice Radio. I was planning to deal with the whole issue of independence tonight and other things, but the late Dennis Joshua passed away, and his funeral service should be on Monday, I was told, at 10 o'clock at the Anglican Church. And, you know, he was a friend of this program, so I just want to say that. And before his passing, we had some discussion in relation to the removal of the name Iti Joshua. Let me take this call. Pleasant good night.
Yes, good night, my
Good night.
brother.
Good night.
Good night, my brother Abraham.
Good night.
I see you riding shotgun tonight, man. Look left, look right. All right?
Yes.
Look left, look right. Okay, so let me speak to my brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. After 23 plus years, the ULP government cannot run against Mr. James Mitchell anymore and Mr. Hanem Houston. And I think by now they should start a run on their records, but they cannot run on any record. And the main problem in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that our people don't know what is the concept of democracy and good governance. Because we are allowing this government for 23 plus years to be running on promises and lies and running a political strategy based on our people's forgetfulness. That is why bribing and buttering is so rampant in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That a prime minister could suffer you for 23 plus years, have you living in extreme poverty, after 23 plus years coming to dig up an area and telling you're going to get proper health care. When we know building is not what makes health care. Building is just a concrete oven. That's how I look at it. Good health care comes from having good doctors, good nurse, put in the resources, and for them to perform their duty for the Vincentian people. That is health care. But we allow this government to keep doing foolishness, have us living in extreme poverty, piling up a national debt on our head, having the Minister of Agriculture coming to tell you that we, who have one of the biggest waterways in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to come and tell us now that they is going to start importing fishes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I'm asking him now, where's the investment in our fisher folks? Where's the investment in our agriculture department so that we could start importing less agriculture produce in St. Vincent? You could believe a place like St. Vincent importing tomatoes and carrots, brother Abraham?
Mm-hmm.
What next? I think something is wrong with us as a people, man. We got to get back to being a productive set of people. We don't have no money coming into St. Vincent because we does not ship out anything. You cannot base your economy, Vincentian, based on white folks' stories coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We only have two major events in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that bringing people from foreign into St. Vincent. It's our carnival and the Christmas season at Returning Nationals. What else we got? You have the guy at the Hall Marina that could have given us an opportunity to give tourism a boost by people coming down from Maine and Florida with their yachts and all those things. You turn your back on the Hall Marina. Come on, Vincentian. Don't make this government, don't vote for any promises and lies anymore. This government is supposed to run on the record. And as far as I'm concerned, the record of the ULP is one of failure. High national debt that does not benefit you. I even give you an opportunity to repay the debts them. Because there is nothing productive in St. Vincent that comes from the loan that Mr. Gonsalves piled on the backs of the Vincentian people. Plain and simple. So how are you going to pack it up on your children and the backs of your children? Your NIS already, he doesn't make it insolvent. That he put it on your reach of your life expectancy. Come on, Vincentian. Don't vote for a government that is betting on your debt. Don't make an investment on your debt. That is exactly what's going to happen because many Vincentians used to live their life, yes, give the service, make your contribution, and then later on you could have said, well, at least I could get my little pension money to run a little business. If God help you, you might be able to build a house. You use it downstairs, you run a little hole in the wall, a little turnover grocery or whatever. You used to do that. There was a reason, there was a hope based on the productiveness of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Our agriculture department, our trade department, it's just a waste of time. We just allowing this government. Look at the foolishness this man is doing. When you want to make an investment in Miss Maloney so that it could have paid dividends, this man wants. How could you afford to get dividends when you never make an investment? No, you want to take Miss Maloney and take her to the US. For what? What kind of political dividends you're looking for? You did not make an investment in her. So now you're trying to play catch up by taking her to the UN? No, you should have made an investment in her. Just like the St. Lucia government. You make an investment in their athletes. That's why she was able to get the best. You're looking for political mileage from the young lady. And the Vincentian people couldn't buy that. How many times you will allow this government to tell you everything is temporary? You put the people, the young children in the mountain Armisville to say that you build temporary school. You're going to talk about down in Union temporary. What? This government should be a temporary government. Because everything is temporary. You cannot build nothing and let it last. Swami, you're going to build a temporary hospital too? Healthcare is temporary? No, healthcare should be first priority. Fighting crime should be first priority. That's why people elect government. It's to better their life, not to have them face an extreme poverty, Mr. Gonsalves. You come and make the Vincentian people a decent standard of living. You destroy it. That is what you do. So it means you can't do two things at the same time. You can't give me a better standard of living and build something. I must suffer because you build an airport. I should make you Prime Minister for life. Then when you're done, you want to put the sun on our back. Building an airport, water, all that. Come on, Vincent. And my brother Abraham, I'm still lobbying for you to be a part of that electoral system. I don't know why you're shocking the responsibility, man. We could only get free and fair election in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a brother like you. Good night.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Pleasure. Okay, I think we lost that call. Let me take a short break and we'll be right back.
No matter where you are in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, your radio is Nice Radio. 101.3, 96.7, 90.3 FM.
Keeping It Real is an interactive radio program heard only on Nice Radio. Join your host, Joel Abraham, every Friday as we discuss important issues affecting our society from 8 to 10:30 p.m. For persons living outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can still listen to us on Nice Radio's website, www.niceradio.info, or you can email us at bdsnice@gmail.com, or simply give us a call at 784-456-5967. Remember, it's Keeping It Real, the interactive talk show program heard each and every Friday only on Nice Radio.
Good night.
Hello?
Good night. Good night.
Good night, good night. Yeah, I was listening to the program very attentively. And I have to say that the Prime Minister is taking Miss Maloney to the United Nations. Is that so?
I think I saw it somewhere that he was supposed to take her. I don't know whether or not she went.
You know, sometimes it makes you wonder. I know that Miss Maloney really represented St. Vincent well and things like that, and we have all shown our appreciation. But sometimes, you know, Afghans have those things that it have to make you wonder. I mean, of course, we know that she would help to motivate maybe a lot of other young people. But I can't understand why he likes to do these things. I don't think that taking her to the United Nations is for her sake. I think it's for his sake. He's doing it for himself, not for her. Because, you know, it's a sporting event. And, of course, the young people, whoever will be motivated or who like, they'll be glad for that sort of thing. But I don't think that taking her to the United Nations is just a way of showing off himself. He's not really doing anything for her. I completely disagree with that. And I don't think anybody right thinking should think that he should be taken, especially, well, I won't say what I was wanted to say. But I'm happy for Ms. Maloney that she's done so well and the country appreciates that. But he also wants to make a kind of a, you know, this grandstanding for himself. I don't think I agree with that. I don't know what other people think, but I think he should let things take its course and people appreciate and understand and be motivated by Miss Maloney. So if he's doing that, I don't think I really can say I appreciate that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, Freedom Family. I have amazing news for you. In Queensland, Australia, the mandates for police have just been revoked and it has been ruled in court that the mandates were unlawful. That's right. Guys, these globalist, evil people, they overplay their hand and the truth is just building up against them and there's straws that break the camel's back all the time. We don't know what it is, but today a straw has broken at least one camel's back. The police commissioner of Queensland actually resigned last week, funnily enough, and now this order has just been put in place. So if you are feeling down today, if you feel like the world is against us, just know that the truth comes out slowly and then sometimes really hard. And today it's come out really hard. And congratulations to the police who did stand their ground and did hold the line, because now you can have your job back if you want, because actually we need good police in the police force. So please, Queensland police who have been stood down, please go back to work because we need you.
Pleasant good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, good night.
I just joined you.
Okay.
But it seems to me that I'm hearing something about Miss Maloney being coerced to go to the United Nations. Is that true?
Well, I think I saw that on some news network that you were supposed to travel.
I would hope that Miss Maloney's family is trying to not to allow their member to be used by anybody like that. You understand? Okay. Now, I had been waiting for the Prime Minister's statement at the United Nations for the last couple of days. Right? You heard me clearly?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
And I was shocked to hear one thing I heard was and you must replay it if you have it. What his speech is that in essence the international bodies have neglected, have been untrustworthy with respect to the promises they made to help these small island states. Huh? That is how I read what he said, because the larger countries or the more progressive countries or more wealthy countries had indicated their promise to help the smaller islands who are more disposed to global warming ill effects. But good, and he calls them untrustworthy. But look at his record. For 20-something years, his party said they were going to fix the roads. And up to now, they haven't started. The roads look who want to get to the lands can't get there. Crippled us. Even with respect to the education, a lot of our people could have sent their children to school if they were able to get to their lands, produce. Huh? Look at that. But the politicians told us that we can't depend on agriculture to advance our interests, and this is where we are. And talking about untrustworthy, we have to make records when we talk about untrustworthy to see how our behavior measured up to the 8-something years ago. You know, this is how we did. And I would hope that the scholars among us, whom we have expected to play a leading role in the forward thrust of people, to determine after this is the season for serious discussion, so that we could say how we're going forward. We could lay a platform which would offer the younger generations a reasonable chance to prosper in peace and justice. I am happy that we have now, a couple of years ago, we seem to see a reluctance by people who had the capacity, who had the potential. They didn't want to come forward because of the hostility of the environment, political environment, but now it seems to me that some are willing to come forward. And we, those of us who are not political players, must encourage them to come to play their role, to have their say in determining how we're going forward, you know, because we can't just drift on like this. We cannot just drift on like this because we will not end up good. The agriculture is a very important part in fortifying our foundation with respect to our education. Right?
Yes.
My friend, thank you very much for
Okay.
listening. And you all stay strong because you all have a role to play as we go forward. Yeah?
Okay, thank you. Pleasant good night.
Hello, good night.
Good night, good night.
Good night, Brother Abraham.
Good night.
Well, I see my partner is not on tonight.
No.
Okay then. Well, Fisherman here, I just want to highlight, if you could spare me 2 minutes of your
Go ahead, man.
of your program just to explain something. Brother Abraham,
Hey.
you know, I don't know if you was listening your news this week. We had a safety at sea training that is now launched at the Fisheries Division to develop fisher folk in terms of safety at sea. Where over 300 fisher folks will be benefiting from this program. What is shocking, Brother Abraham, is at the opening of this training session, we had a feature address. And then when we heard that the minister is saying in the interim, the approach, it seems like we have to import fish in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm telling you, up to today, most of the fisher folks are still trembling. They cannot catch themselves all the way having this training because
You know, over the last set of years, you was hearing about how St. Vincent will be one of the most productive places, the introduction of the Argyle Import, the Argyle International Airport. Rainforest will be coming here, and the government is expected to purchase $20 million worth in fish. But for the whole year, I was saying to the fisher folks in this country is that this year going to be a rough year for fisher folks. Because this situation come, Brother Abraham, you know, I all time saying that in Rose Place was one of the most thriving fishing community. And when they built the Kingston Port Modernization Project, they just give the boat owners, they didn't consider the fishermen and them a package without a proper location that they could locate themselves. And you know now, their down low man's almost 2 years without a washroom. On the other side, they dredge out the sand from up Stubbs Bay come right down. You can't catch any fish there again. With the development of the Sanders project in Lomans Bay, they put on some reef and all kind of sort of things in the bottom of the ocean where the fisher folks used to be productive. They can't turn no sail in that area there. Brother Abraham, most of the plan that was brought to the fisher folks from ever since, some nice Danny plan, looking plan, if you see them, if you hear about them, you will really be energetic, you will be in for this thing. But we are not seeing the reality of these plans. And now what we are getting now, because I even asked for rebate and concession to the fisher folks so we could fish more and that we could sell the fish more cheaper to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that was turned down. So what we are seeing now is that there is no really tangible benefit is being put to the table that we can benefit from. More than now, we have to say now we're going to import fish. Brother Abraham, the fisher folks up to today, we can't believe it. Because what was promoted, I could say, the only time fishing was on the agenda is when Rainforest been coming here. When they hear they had a big motorcade, big plampcade, or $20 million worth in fish. And now, they fail to offer concession and rebate and whatever. The fleet expansion program to assist the fishers. There's no program in place to assist the fishing cooperative. And now we are going to import fish. Why are we putting pressure on our local fisher folks? Just to make things easier for the bigger boys. You understand where I'm coming from, Brother Abraham?
Yes.
So what we are looking to do now, because we don't get no information, no consultation, no nothing from the authorities, so let we sit and meet with the fisher folks. Let we discuss the issues that the fisher folks are facing. Climate change is real. Although we are happy to attend the safety at sea training because it's benefit to us to conduct our daily operation while we are at sea. But we cannot digest the importation of fish to our country when we have over 300 and something registered fisher. We have the sea space, we have everything here. And adding to that, the agriculture input warehouse, it putting more pressure on the fisher folks because they're closing down the market every Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Even if you can't make gas, they're charging you 25 cents to lay up our fish. We need, you see, people need to understand what is happening in this industry. And some people saying, like, when Mr. Harry talk, he's being personal, he's being this, but I'm a fisherman. I'm in the kitchen and I'm feeling the heat. This is why I could explain myself, but I cannot support the importation of fish when we was told we will be having access to ship fish. You understand me?
Yeah, yes.
So I just want to get the persons to know that the fisher folks in St. Vincent is not supporting the importation of fish. We would like to see why we have to import fish. We know fish is a seasonal thing, and why there is nothing is put in place to assist the fisher folks to fish better, to adapt to climate change. We know climate change is real, and have the program that is put in place, because some of the fishers are saying, including myself, most of the program seems to be failed, and now the only solution is to import fish instead of assist the fisher folks. Thank you very much.
I have two questions for you, though. Oh, you're gone.
Listen, all I'm saying.
Okay, yes, yes. No, I still have two questions for you. Somebody told me earlier on today that they're now giving out the life jacket and the handbraid that they had about 3 years ago to give to the fisher folks, and they're now releasing them. Is that true?
Well, the fisher folks who attend the training today,
Yes.
as I said,
Yes,
it is we welcome, even if it take long,
yes.
we welcome it because
Mhm.
it's safety at sea. Me myself was part of that training there.
Yes, yes. No, I'm
And
asking you
after
if
the
it was
training, they say that we will have a gift bag, and they did deliver on the gift bag.
okay. No, I'm asking you if it was there to give out a long time ago and they're now distributing them. That is the question.
No, these are some new
Okay,
stuff
okay,
that
okay.
they received.
Okay,
The other
okay.
stuff that was they had long time. They take very long to do it.
Okay.
But these new stuff, I don't think they
Okay.
take too long for doing.
The second question, during when they were removing the sand from Stubbs, Diamond, those areas, were there any consultation? Because I know most farmers fisher folks were just interested in getting the $5,000, and some get 7,000, and they was not talking about querying about the shortage of fish in the future. Were there consultation with the fisher folks when you had that rigging of the sand?
There was some consultation with
Okay.
the fisher folks in
Okay.
Calicut.
Okay.
But one of the things that we have to understand is not only the fisher folks in Calicut
Correct.
fish on that side.
Exactly.
There was no consultation for the fisher folks from after Calicut,
Okay.
even up and down.
Okay.
Like from us in Kingston,
Mm-hmm.
we go up there as well too. Yeah,
Exactly.
the same persons
Mm-hmm.
who was the most persons that was affected.
Okay.
They was not included in the $5,000. The
Okay.
$5,000
Mm-hmm.
was only for the fisher folks in Calicut.
And some persons who are not fisher folks get 20,000. I was made to understand.
Some persons who is not involved in the industry
Yes.
receive some money as well too.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So, but I think fisher folks in general should have received the money, because the water is not only for those on the windward side, but from Calico side.
Well, that is how it looked.
Yes.
Because up to today,
Mm-hmm.
the fisher folks are still questioning, and out of that same $5,000 that the fisher folks been get, if you remember the announcement that was made,
Mm-hmm.
some of the money would have used to develop Lomans Bay
Yes.
and Shipping Bay, and it's going in two year and sub now. No money in spending Lomans Bay yet, so I don't know if there's a priority area. There's a comfortable area. Seems to be on the more positive side. We are not against the fisher folks from Calicut if they could get some money.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But not even one toilet yet in Lomans Bay. You close down Rose Place, so you're seeing the effect, Brother Abraham.
Yes.
If you listen where I'm coming from,
Yes.
why now we having a shortage of fish?
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Yes, you're listening to Keeping It Real right here on Nice Radio. Okay, we'll ask that call again. Yes, you're listening to Nice Radio right here. Keeping It Real right here on Nice Radio. Pleasant good night.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
I wanted to recap that for me. Who you said that died?
Dennis Joshua.
Oh my God. I spoke with that guy.
Yes, yes.
Oh, my condolences. Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Yes. My good friend. And yes, so his funeral will be on Monday at the Anglican Church, I was told, at 10
Hello,
p.m.
Freedom Family. I have amazing news for you. In Queensland, Australia, the mandates for police have just been revoked, and it has been ruled in court that the mandates were unlawful. That's right. Guys.
Yes, mandate unlawful, and we are still awaiting information. So next week, Wednesday, I think, will be exact 5 months since the Court of Appeal would have heard the judgment, the case that the government appeal. So next week, on Wednesday, yes, Wednesday will be. It was the 2nd of May, so the 2nd of October will be 5 months. The court was in St. Vincent last week, and the lawyer for the teachers indicated he was disappointed. I know all of us, well, most of us, were disappointed that the court did not give their judgment on the issue. And we've been saying on this program for a very long time that what was done was illegal. The court also indicated that was unconstitutional, procedurally, and among other things. And we were hoping that because persons' life are at stake, their livelihood and other things, that the court would have given the judgment. Well, I can't use the word because I don't know if the court understand the meaning of the word expeditious based on what transpired in 2015. So I may have to find a different word. But so I thought the court would have ruled earlier, taking into consideration people' livelihood at stake. Some may have lost their houses. Some may have lost their mind. I know some people die for sure. And we have the court still lingering with the judgment come Tuesday, 5 months later. And mind you, the teachers and the public servant waited a long time before the matter was heard in the High Court in Kingston, and then government chose to appeal. I was going to read the affidavit from the Attorney General, but maybe next time. Father Abraham, do you think it will be more productive if the people running the organization like the UN and CARICOM are not related to any government, but standing as independent, and should the police, the government, to sign on to those organizations? And should we police the government to sign on to this organization? We have these organizations that should be there to make life better. Look at Israel running havoc through Gaza and now Lebanon with no control. It's shameful. The same in the Caribbean. There are so many calling for free and fair election by many countries, and it looks like no one is planning on doing anything for the betterment of the people in these countries. Look at the mess in Venezuela. Why are they taking country monies when they seem to be unable to do anything to assist or show control? Well, I agree with most of it. And I indicated that also because what is happening in Gaza and Lebanon is wicked and inhumane. And it seems like the Israelite, the government are untouchable and they can do what they want. And it can be right. It's inhumane and wickedness what is happening there. The issue of free and fair election, it seemed like all the elections so far for the last couple of years, there were serious problems with the elections. All of the election, remember Guyana recently. So we have, let me take this call. Pleasant good night.
Good night, my doctor.
Good night, good night.
How are you?
Good, good.
My doctor, Shallow deal is a done deal. Shallow gone home in his hometown to help his people then. So no talking and no going on with any put Dr. Gontab and then can't change the egg. So better you Shallow whole family from Nadu, from Rose, from Coastal. And he gone home to help his people out to get out of poverty. And it's a done deal. I was listening to Dr. Gonsalves and a couple of weeks ago. Is anybody say anything upon Carlisle? He's actually Minister Aaron Punatby, but
Mm-hmm.
and Bruce.
Carlos James.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce
Mm-hmm.
and Sobato Caesar to
Mm-hmm.
defend them.
Okay.
So I said to myself, when I hear this guy from where he represents where not the word. He's not a liar. Sobato Caesar not a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce can't defend them, they can't defend themselves. So anybody say anything from them, Dr. Gonsalves will go represent, defend them. So what them be? The Maliko Pigminator? They can't defend themselves. And two of them a lawyer and one a well-educated. And you could tell me you. So that means them they under your wings or anything, the Maliko Pigminator? I have to laugh when I heard that. So what you do worry Dr. Shallow, eh? Dr. Shallow gone home, your family from Rosebud, from Coastal. He gets half a education supposed to be from down there from youth. So he gone back home, he gone back in his own constituency to help take his people and them out of the poverty that they now. That boy say he had any ring. He not say he had any ring because he wants $1. Because of something he could help himself where he is now. But he gone go help his people then come out of poverty where this government got them in now. And I gone.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Yes, keeping it right here nice. So I was saying that 5 months and they're still waiting. They waited for a long time. And I hope that somebody from the court will do what is right. Give the judgment and let those teachers and public servants get what is rightfully theirs. And I can see, I know the Caribbean is a strange place, and in particular St. Vincent. But I can't see for the life of it, all the other countries and the mandate were ruled unconstitutional by all the courts. And it will be amazing to see our court of appeal and their decision. I remember Sir James, the late Sir James, indicated that he had to go all the way to the Privy Council to get justice. We could remember Marcus had to go all the way to the Privy Council. Could remember the late Toussaint had to go all the way to the Privy Council. And people were calling us backward when we indicated that we prefer to have the foreign justices look at matters in relation to our country. When we said that, persons were saying how we are backward and we need to complete the process of our independence and all sort of nonsense. And that is what I really was planning to deal with tonight, because I was going through the 69 Constitution, the statehood Constitution, and then I have a document with the conference that were held in London in September 1978, 24th of September 1978, when we were about to gain our independence. And it's interesting to note some of the things in that document. And I remember earlier on, elderly guy told me that at that time they were trying to do a thing on their own. And I think it's the PPP and the NDP basically indicated that they were not going to take part in the process. It's also in the document. And what happened then, they formed a National Independence Committee at that time in 1978 because they wanted the voice to be heard. So some people come together and form themselves into Independence Committee and submit recommendations. And that is reflected in the document also. So some of the organizations that formed themselves into the Independence Committee to make recommendation in shaping our constitution is ARWE, Grammar School Students' Council, the National Youth Council, the Nurses Association, the St. Vincent Christian Council, the St. Vincent Union of Teachers, ULIMO, Mr. Louis Duncan, and Sir Rupert John, and the St. Vincent National Council of Women and the Labour Party Women League. Those are some of the people who joined in terms of the Independence Committee, and there were some recommendations for Constitution of St. Vincent by Monica Joseph, Kibacus, and I think maybe Jonah Bacchus. I just see J. Bacchus, I believe is Jonah Bacchus, jointly when in shaping our constitution. But if you get a taste of the document, it's very interesting to know that what was recommended then and some of the reasons why we opted for a single parliament instead of a lower upper chambers and other things that transpired then. It's interesting to note. So I was speaking to Dennis Joshua a couple months before he took ill, and we were discussing the issue of the removal of the name E.T. Joshua from the old airport, and we're naming it the Joshua Center. And in my mind, I think that was done deliberately, and it was distasteful to me because Ebenezer Theodore Joshua made significant contribution to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was the first chief minister, and among other things that were unique in terms of that era where he was the chief minister and his wife was the leader of the opposition, and among other strange things that happened around those times. but he had made his contribution to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. His wife was the representative for North Windward for 5 consecutive terms. And when you hear some of the stories about and some of the contribution of his wife, Ivy Joshua, so I can't see what will get in the minds of our leaders to remove the Ithi, which is Ebenezer Theodore Joshua, right? What will get in their mind and just put the Joshua Center? Basically trying to erase the history and the memory of, I think I have a call. Pleasant good night.
Sorry to have to call back.
No, don't sorry about that, man. You call.
Yeah, and in addition,
Yes.
Mr. Joshua was the person who advocated for the advancement of the spiritual
Yes, correct.
back to thing. Because
Correct.
remember, before that, they had to go in the mountain.
Correct.
They were in the mountain. The praise house was in the mountain.
Mhm.
They couldn't be in the villages.
Correct.
So he should be a vital name
In our history.
in the remembrance
Mhm.
of that thing. Because listen,
Mhm.
the spiritual Baptists were elemental to the resistance or the survival of the slaves.
Mhm.
If they didn't have that strong organization,
Mhm.
they would not have survived.
Yes,
With
yes.
it,
Mhm.
So I see strongly, and I think we should have that name.
Correct.
So it should be the E.T. Joshua, whatever it is.
Yes, right, the Joshua
And
Center.
also, it could have been used by the Spirit Baptist now for the commemoration.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. You
Yes,
say
yes.
something, my brother.
Thank you. Yeah, so, and I I remember when I indicated and I was corrected by somebody who were there, and it's a fact that is the what's his name again, Johnny Jones, but it wasn't at his death. It was when they went at some Heroes Day some time around, and we was there because that time I involved in youth work, so I had to go. Well, didn't have to go, but I went, and it was at that time I think is Rennie Bathies, the minister at the time, and we had a celebration there, and it was at that time that Johnny Jones asked for the holiday and not at the funeral service, which took place in 91, but it was later on when he asked for it. So I was corrected. I know it sometime and I was there, a matter of fact. And you see, a number of individuals who may not be aware, and you'll hear they make mention of how Joshua died. And people are so dishonest. People are so dishonest. 2 individuals who basically were instrumental in the destruction of Ebenezer Theodore Joshua and the way in which he apparently became in his latter part of his life. And when I spoke to 2 individuals who know the story well, they wanted to know where I gather my information. I give you one story tonight and you get the other story some other time. In St. Vincent at the time, there were a particular bank, I wouldn't call the name of the bank, that Ebenezer Theodore Joshua used to bank his money. And as far as we know, okay, I think I should leave out that part. But yes, he used to bank his money, and some unorthodox thing went on and the person did an injustice to him and his money at that institution. And only because the bank didn't want to lose its repetition, that is why something was allowed to slide. And you see, some lawyers have to tell God a whole lot. But nevertheless, Ebenezer Theodore Joshua left his mark. He was a Mormon, and I remember, I think his memorial was at the Mormon church, but he fought for the right of the spiritual Baptists to receive the recognition. And to remove his name from the history or the memory of the younger generation, I think is an injustice to him. Pleasant good night.
Good night, brother Abraham.
Good night, good night.
So if a lawyer did, he could put your coat still.
you have I oh boy, have
My
mercy on
cousin, he died too.
have
He
mercy,
was who was a land and thing from Joshua.
have mercy upon my soul.
Huh?
Have mercy upon my soul.
My cousin.
Just don't call the name. Just say your cousin. Okay, good.
Abraham, man, I use both because if I name you tell me about
Okay, nice.
lad, may you tell me about that?
Nice. I recognize the voice, that's why. Hey?
I say I got a lot of history.
Yes, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's done me alone have the history. Okay.
Me and Joshua son now a good friend, Jeremiah.
Okay.
And Talib Stone and Jeremiah.
Okay.
But Jerry just to leave things in the area.
Oh, you know the story too, so
I mean,
good.
my cousin may tell you about he did a thousand cemetery too, or he got who was that thing.
Yes. It was unfair, man, and wicked.
But lawyer can put your coat, he got.
No, but me ain't calling the name still.
No, me not calling.
Okay, good.
We just say he got home, pa. We have.
Yeah. And one went home this week, and like the other one went next week. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right.
About that.
Okay.
Then we talk about that from me now again.
Yes.
All the best.
Okay, you too. A pleasant good night.
Good evening. Good night to you.
Good night.
Brother Abraham, let me full disclosure. I'm getting some feedback in my ear. Let me just double check something here.
Okay, no problem.
Are you okay? Full disclosure, I'm Ben Abbott.
Okay, how you doing?
And I'm good. God is good. It's day by day. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. This is the first for a long time that I've tuned into the program. Okay. I normally, as you know, I have my own station here, internet, and I am tuned into another program. Mm-hmm. But God is good. And I this is the first time I'm going to talk about E.T. Joshua on air. But I've never done it before.
Okay.
But I'll take a few minutes, and I really want to join you in extending condolence to the family of Joshua, Dennis Joshua, and the others, all in the Joshua family, all related. For me, a Joshua is a Joshua, just like an Abbott is an Abbott, a Ross is a Ross. Now, not giving away my age, my experience with E.T. Joshua goes back years. I remember, I think it was in 1962, I heard about, around that time or somewhere there, the closure of the sugar factory in the 60s anyway in Georgetown. And there are many stories around that, dependent on whom you listen to, in relation to the role of E.T. Joshua in that whole historical experience with the Monbentic Sugar Factory. What I want to say about that, though, my experiences, my readings over the years have convinced me that Joshua contributed a lot in terms of the awakening, in terms of unionization of our people, bringing our people together to fight for their rights and all of that when it comes to labor issues and all of that. So I that for me is the genesis of my experience with Joshua, based on what I heard from my family and others who were very supportive of the PPP around that time. But I can say this to you, from very early o'clock, I used to hang out with Earl Joshua, Juice Joshua, all those guys in the house there. I think it used to be called the Oceano.
Yes.
There in Georgetown. I used to hang out there with them because I was around their age, hanging out and things like that with the youngsters when Joshua came to Georgetown on weekends to have his political meetings. That's the second point. The political awareness and consciousness, especially for folks on that side of St. Vincent, that was awakened by E.T. Joshua. Those meetings, I remember them quite well. Very often on the weekends, every other weekend, with people like Duff J and Walker and all these guys. I remember folk came from Spring Village, Dixon, Georgetown proper, Chile, Caratal, and all that. Folks all around, just really being educated politically in those times before statehood. I remember those days quite well. I also remember Joshua producing a newsletter called The Bulletin. And I, as I got older, as I got into secondary school, I used to read that and share that with my colleagues in school and other places and other organizations. The Bulletin, where using those antiquated systems and so on to produce this bulletin, like 3-4 pages. But he started that in terms of making people more conscious politically on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I also remember quite well my mother, Amy Abbott, and Mrs. Joshua, Ivy Joshua, were very close. My mother used to bake for Ivy when she came to Georgetown. My mother also did some sewing and all of that. She did some sewing for Ivy Joshua. I remember those days quite well. The involvement of Joshua in the community with the people, not only in that area of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I remember quite well. Fast forward, before he died, as I got into more community radio and all of that, I did a program with Max Harry, Gone to the Great Beyond, looking back at Joshua. I visited Joshua at Mackeyville at his home there on his dying bed. Even before that, I remember at Oceana, where at that time the Bishop's College was located next to that building. And Joshua was there, whoever he had around him, cooking and all that in coal pots and all that. Very often the students laughed at him. That gentleman who gave so much to our community. That gentleman who years ago, before all of that, also had an insight into the importance of culture. I remember the downstairs having folks like Lord Hawk and others performing there in the downstairs of his building for the community. I remember also in terms of spiritual Baptists, one John Shepherd came into to St. Vincent, Georgetown, went to Rabaca, and had a spiritual experience out of there, all because of all of E.T. Joshua. But again, Matthew still brought tears to my eyes because I remember having several conversations with him. I spoke with folks who were involved in the strike at Montbentic. Some of them have gone to the big grid beyond, like Lenny Biden and others. And I don't know if that tape is there in NBC Radio, but they had a story that's quite different than what you normally hear blaming Joshua for what happened there at Montbentic. But the bottom line is that it created an awareness. The union movement was strong. Political consciousness, it was strong. Culturally, with Lord Hawke, going to the great beyond, that was strong. He was with the people, that was strong. He brought lights to Georgetown. He brought these houses in that area, Montbentic, Connery, other places in that area of St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and the history goes on. I strongly agree with you that we should do whatever we can to preserve the name of E.T. Joshua forever. It should be etched in the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for more than all these reasons that I can remember as a youngster, obviously the historians will have more. But I am, for the first time, sharing my experiences publicly with E.T. Joshua from a youngster in Georgetown, growing up later on to Mackey's Hill when he died shortly thereafter. I just wanted to share that with you, Father Abraham, this evening. And I sincerely hope that we'll reconsider renaming that area E.T. Joshua and against Joshua. Whatever. I strongly support you on this. Once again, to the family of Dennis, we extend our strong, heartfelt condolence. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you
Continue
also.
the great work.
Thank you also. Yes, you're listening to Keeping It Real right here on Nice Radio. So I'll give you my first experience. I used to be at the Public Service Union in my little boy days. And I used to go across. I ain't gonna give you the story why I used to be at the Public Service Union. So nobody asked me. So yes, I had a relative who used to be a typist there. So I used to be across this way. I used to go across and old talk with Joshua, the little boy. Let me just take this last call. And that is it for the night. Pleasant good night.
Good night.
Good night, good night.
Yeah, I called because I heard Vin talking about our first chief minister there. And I want to ask Vin to talk about the bulletin. You know, I'm happy that I had an experience with Joshua, you know. I had an experience with him.
I found I found one copy the other day of mine. The bulletin.
I didn't get that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the last set of official photos of Joshua and his wife Ivy. I did those photos. Somebody came here from Trinidad and they got me as the photographer to do those photos. We went up to Botanic Gardens and all of that. And that was, you know, and I still remember that couple getting some lovely photos of them. But what surprised me, or what I wanted to ask Vin, since he knows so much about Joshua, I hope he's still listening. And he talk about the bulletin. I want him to tell me what were the Latin words on his bulletin. There were, I mean, and that I learned that from ever since. Well, I did some Latin in school in my time, but I always remember the Latin words on that bulletin. So, and you know, Joshua boy, he played his part, and he must always be remembered. That I'm happy I was able to see his situation. And he says, how Joshua got money in Swiss Bank and all of that. That had to be a lie, man. That was no truth. Huh? Anyhow, I just wanted to fill in there. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And I remember when I was small, the song that they used to be singing, "We'll never let Joshua fall," or "Comrade." We'll never let Cupboard fall, but we love him best of all. We'll fight for right, our children right. We'll never let Cupboard fall. Well, I can't sing, so I'm not going to try sing. So, but we remember those days. And there's another story. I don't know if my friend who indicated that we used to go around in the big vehicle remember the other story with the individual who went to Trinidad also. Boy, this place is a strange place. So the individual who, boy, you had some real strange people in this place. So the individual went to Trinidad. That individual also, oh, very, very strange. Also, along with the guy and the lawyer. Boy, there's plenty story. But yes, so I hope I plan to deal with some other history with Avery Joshua. And I have a document that was written by, I can't, let me see who it was written by, I don't know, but is Against the Odds. Against the Odds, the political pathway of Ivy Joshua. And also somebody before our independence also in 1951, the first election after statehood was George Charles. I met George Charles as a little boy. I used to rap at second grade when I finished school on weekend or when the vacation holiday, and I always as a rapper boy in those days I carry out his bags, George Charles. I carry out his bags, and every time he'll give me a little something to put in my cup. And I used to wrap around a lady from Guyana, and we used to put all our collections together in those days. And at the end of the week, we divide it equally. Because, as the cashier, she may not get anything. So we divide them equally. And I had the opportunity of speaking with George Charles from the 8th Man Army of Liberation. Yes, I young and I still old enough, so but you will hear that on a whole lot more as we celebrate our 45th anniversary of independence. But until next week, DB, have a wonderful time.
Morning Joy. Time for food for the soul. Hallelujah. We start our day right by praising the Lord in gospel song. From the wee hours of the morning to 6:30 a.m. Early morning joy.
Yes, so you're here keeping it real right here on Nice Radio. So, yes, George Charles of the 8th Man Army of Liberation. He took all the seat in 1951. All the seat he took in 1951 when they had that election. I'm looking to see. Okay, yes. So he contested that election. After adult suffrage. Okay. So North Leeward, he had representing the party Sam Slater and Ed Joachim. So Sam Slater, he got 91,974 votes in that election, and Joachim 1,093. So in that election of 1951, there was only 8 seats at the time. There was only 8 seats, and Joshua, sorry, I missed his name now. So he won all, George Charles. He won all of the seats. His party won all of the seats. In South Leeward, you have Herman Young representing the 8th Man Army. And he got 2,106 votes against Sam Jack, who contested and got 243 votes. In Kingston, you have Rudolph Baines, Dr. Frank Ellis, and George McIntosh. So Rudolph Baines from the 8th Man Army, he got 1,065 votes. Dr. Frank Ellis, 252 votes, and George McIntosh, 861 votes. So you had the 8th Man Army out in front in that election after we was given the right to vote for the first time. But prior to that, you may have known that only a certain class of people could have voted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You had to have land, you had to have money of a certain amount, because otherwise you were not eligible to participate in the electoral process in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we have gone a long way, and that is why it sickened me when you will have people trying to go and buy your vote, where people go and say that, they will indicate that, if anybody want me to vote this time, they have to pay for my vote. I mean, when you listen to those things, and I make a statement a couple of years ago, some agree with me, some disagree with me. Maybe it will be better if only certain category of people could have voted. I said that, and some people did vexed or disagree, because voting is so important as a part of our democratic process, where persons give their life for us to be given that opportunity to participate in that democratic process. Because, and contrary to what you believe, I am of the opinion that that is the only time we used to have a pure form of democracy. So you will go around in some constituencies or some areas, and you will hear people saying, I'm not voting for this, I'm not voting for him. And because I don't see him, he don't represent me, and blah, blah. And soon as that individual go to the area and leave some money by a shop for them to get alcohol or cigarette, they change the position and they put on the symbols. And I'm seeing those individuals are a disgrace to our democracy, our democratic process. And they are doing an injustice to the rest of us who appreciate the right to vote. And hear what? And I think is Vin Abbott, and indicated earlier, which we have knowledge of. In those days, there were political education, and you couldn't come with all this garbage that we have now, where people will come and talk all sorts of stupidness on the platform without educating us. And we go to the poll and vote for those idiots. That is why they treat us like that. Because politically, we are not educated. We don't know what it means to participate in an election. We don't know what it means to elect a representative. I could remember in the early days when we had the Signal proper, when Avery Joshua will come down from time to time and they have a market day. And they will be selling produce. We had the oil factory, right where Secret Grades have the parking lot now. We used to carry copper down there and sell our copper. Remember those days? Some of us remember those days. So we had that. When you listen to a political meeting in those days, or you get recording of those political meetings in those days, you ask yourself some questions. And one of the main questions is whether or not those individuals who we deem as not being certified had a lot more common sense than us today. I'm telling you, the individuals of them, they will still come up with this stupidness that, oh, I born PPP and I going to die PPP and all those things. You still have those individuals who we call diehard. They will tell you that I born PPP, I meet my mother in PPP, I meet my father in PPP, and they'll continue to say that. And that is how some people vote up to today, which I believe they should have more sense. And okay, so yes, I think I am free now. Okay, until next week, we have a wonderful evening.
Keeping It Real is an interactive radio program heard only on Nice Radio. Join your host, Joel Abraham, every Friday as we discuss important issues affecting our society from 8 to 10:30 p.m. For persons living outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can still listen to us on Nice Radio's website, www.niceradio.info, or you can email us at bdsnice@gmail.com, or simply give us a call at 784-456-5967. Remember, it's Keeping It Real, the interactive talk show program heard each and every Friday, only on Nice Radio.
Looking to upgrade your home without breaking your bank? Now's the perfect time. District Stairs huge independent sale. Get up to 45% off on selected items, including luxury vinyl planks, waterproof laminate, crown molding, baseboards, and more. So whether you're transforming your floors or adding the perfect finishing touch with elegant trims, we've got you covered. Hurry on in today. These deals won't last long. Visit District Stairs in the Russell Shopping Mall at Stony Grounds and turn your home into the masterpiece it deserves.